Hello, my name is Gentry George. I'm a professor at Worls School of the Arts. I'm also a dancer and choreographer. I met Vladimir when I was maybe 15 or 16 years old. There were two students in my class at Worls School of the Arts who trained with Vladimir, and I liked their energy, I liked their work ethic, and I just wanted to know where they trained, so I asked them, and they both said they trained at Arts Ballet Theater with Vladimir, and I just knew he was a gentleman that I needed to meet, and that he could provide special insight and great technique and great encouragement. So I just looked him up, and I showed up one day, and the rest was kind of history. Vladimir as a teacher is very encouraging, really brings out the best in you, very challenging, but like I said, very encouraging. And I mean, when I trained there, I did things that I had never done before. I stretched in ways that I had never stretched before. I jumped, and I did so many things that I didn't know were possible, and really made it how do I say? It just really brought out the best in me. And for instance, I was really interested in going to the Juilliard school. And so I know that I needed some supplement exercises and more technique. And so I went there, and I would do a port de bras, and he would maybe go even further and further. So there was always much more that he was bringing out, and much more possibilities that I learned working with him. Yes, my first performance with Arts Ballet Theater was Dr. Ouch. It was actually my first paid performance as well. So he kind of let me see that this was actually a career that was worth investing in, and that it could be a life for me. I love Vladimir's choreography. In fact, I mentioned to him when I saw his Nutcracker that it was my favorite Nutcracker that I had seen. And as you know, there are tons of Nutcrackers, but his musicality is really, really dynamic, really beautiful, and one of a kind, really catchy, and still very challenging. His use of costumes are really beautiful and elegant, and the way that he even has the young students on stage, it's not just simple steps, but really from a young age, they're developing great artistry, great patterns, great weaving in and out of space, and the best that I've seen, actually. From day one, he sort of just welcomed me into his space and into his studio, and I just kept coming back. I just showed up one day as one and done, and let's see what happens. And I just kept going back. I would beg my parents to let me borrow my dad's car so that I could drive there after school. And I went to New World, so I had been dancing all day, but his was the icing, on the cake at the end of the day, to be able to go there and train again and be in a different environment, an environment that was so challenging, an environment that was showing me steps that I had never done before and steps that I never thought that I would do. And I just felt, I felt that I was in the right place, and I felt that I was on the right track, and that he could provide me with the strength and support to go ahead and go after my dreams. The things that I think I took were his openness, the sense of culture, the diversity, being there and being around so many people from different parts of the world. It felt really good. It felt it wasn't just one point of view, and that he was open to seeing different things and showing me different things, and inviting it was just a really shared experience. It was friendly, it was funny. And you know, the Russian technique is not really, there's not really much of that in Miami. So, like I said, I knew that he offered the very best training that there was in all of Miami. And there was so much history behind his movement, behind his steps, behind his technique. And for any young professional, that history is really needed. And the way that it's passed down, whether through the discipline, whether it's passed down orally, anybody who's trying to become a dancer or interested in a dance, you know, we really have to be connected to the past, the present, and also the future. And now as a instructor at his studio, it's so nice to see the young generation and how, you know, even more cultures have come into his space, and there's so many more students all sharing in this legacy. Even some of the students now, I teach them at Worls School of the Arts, so it's sort of like a family, because I recognize them, I see them in the hallways, and you know, I tell them, I say, you know, Vladimir was my teacher too, you know, and here we are in another space, but we're all still connected, and he's all been able to grace our lives and have such an input on us. Vladimir brings one, classical technique, which is much needed and really quite beautiful, but he brings that to Florida in a way he incorporates, you know, I see from his performances the folkloric dancing, the Russian technique, also the Latin influences of the Cuban Americans in Miami with the music choices, with the movement, and even the different cultures from Asia as far as some of the dancers that are there. And but it is still very much classical and disciplined and really artistic. Beyond just what the people look like or where they come from, they all have great energy, great enthusiasm, great musicality, great strength. And the technique is pure. It's not any affectations or anything extra. It's really just beautiful dancing, clear, and it's evident based off of Vladimir's vision and his great training. Well, in high school, when I decided that I wanted to go to the Juilliard School, I knew that I needed to just get more technique and be the best that I could be. And I know for a fact, I don't think there's any way I could have gotten into the Juilliard School had I not trained with Vladimir. Just the way in which he molded my body, you know, the way in which the places where he would touch to indicate where I could give more, the encouragement, what he pulled out, you know, those extremities, and just his example, the way in which he moved and the way in which he held himself really helped me, you know, find my own strength and show me a way how to stand and have a great posture and great discipline. So I did it, and I got there. I was like, woohoo, that was all great. But as you know, I was also very into modern dance, and that was my base. And but Vladimir gave me additional vocabulary, which allowed me to move seamlessly through different techniques in different companies. So I started dancing with Ailey of the Alumnae American Dance Theater, but then I wound up dancing with the Dance Theater of Harlem, which is actually a neoclassical ballet company. And again, had I not had that experience training with Vladimir, I wouldn't have the necessary charisma or the sensibilities on how to behave in the ballet setting. And so I was able to draw on my experiences. And I don't want to say I sort of faked my way through the audition, but you know, I sort of just flipped the switch, and I remember what it was like to be in this ballet company, and that was a dream come true because I had been so focused on the modern dance, the contraction, the Wharton, but because I had trained with Vladimir, there was this vocabulary that was still instilled in me that I was able to then bring out and then explore and expand upon. So I am just forever grateful that his gifts were, added to my life and almost in my little toolbox. What I gained was something that I would never throw away. And, I never actually thought that I would come back to Miami. I was so set on staying in New York. Everything was fine in New York. And coronavirus came and, that did what it did. And it sort of changed the landscape of most of our lives. And so then I came back and I was here. And then it was like I was back home again, I had been training, I had been teaching at a studio in New York, and that was great. We had developed a whole relationship. But when Miss Ruby asked me to come in and be back at Vladimir's, it was a no-brainer because I had learned so much, I had gained so much, and I didn't have to search for another studio or find a place where I could fit in. It was, just once again, an open door, and I felt so privileged. And to see the young students and to just see them moving, and, it just really brings a big smile on my face. And just to see their skill and, at such a young age, they're just so amazing. And, I only wish that I had come to Vladimir much younger, like when I was like 3 years old or something. And who knows, what what I would do, but I feel just privileged to be back, and any way that I can help steer the next generation and provide whatever insight I have, it's a great melting pot, a great cohesive environment.